Welcome to the Pickleball Innovators Podcast, which shines a spotlight on the movers and shakers in the fast-growing pickleball club space. Today's guest is Kady Pooler, the founder and owner of Pickle Athletics in Oakland, California. A former professional tennis player, Kady never expected pickleball to become her next chapter. But after discovering the sport during the pandemic, she found not only a new passion, but also a new purpose. In this conversation, Kady shares how she transformed a former car dealership into a vibrant pickleball destination designed around what she believes is one of today's biggest unmet needs: real life community and connection. We dive into the intentional design choices behind Pickle Athletics' play and stay philosophy, why amenities like a coffee bar, wine lounge, gym, and sauna matter, and the programming strategies helping turn first time visitors into regulars and friends. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And to start, we'd just love to get the background story of how Pickle Athletics came about, if you don't mind to start there.
Yeah, I always laugh because I feel like there's a story that you can make super long and there's a short version, so I'll try to go in the middle. But I think the long story, somewhat short, is I was a professional tennis player. And so played tennis since I was literally 4 years old up until almost 30. And then I had a baby. I was trying to lose baby weight. And I was like also around COVID time, right? So just also going a little stir crazy. And I had some friends who were playing pickleball and kept trying to get me to play. They're like, oh, we think you'd be good at it. You're going to like it. And I was kind of like the tennis elitist. I was like, that's not a real sport. I don't know about that. And I just got to a point where I needed to do something. So I went out, played, and I think like most people got hooked right away. I remember going home and hearing the sound, like that popping sound, and wanting more of it and just kind of like that feel. So then I just started going out, playing more. And then it got to a point where I was full-blown addicted, playing 4 hours a day, blocking off time on my calendar to go play. And then I was playing some pro pickleball tournaments. But as a lot of people know, the tournaments are all across the country. You're often gone for 3, 4 days. And at this point, I had 2 young kids at home. So my wife had approached me and very kindly reminded me that she has a full-time job as well. And this probably was not going to be the way forward. And I fully agreed and aligned on that. I was like, say less. But from her point, she basically was like, it's so cool to see you find a passion again. I think since once I stopped playing tennis, I kind of had this loss of self-identity and just self-worth and what I want to do. And I knew that I wanted to do something in sports, but there was also this question of like, what? I can't just go be a general manager of an NBA team. Like, how do I get into sports? And so she challenged me, and she was the one that basically was like, is there something you can do in pickleball? It's still new. There's still a lot of opportunity. Find a problem, find a solution. For us, it's kind of, there's twofold problem, which is obviously the infrastructure, meeting the supply that's meeting the demand of the fast growing game. But also, I believe that there's a bigger problem right now, which is community, in real life connection, people coming together, forming new relationships, having a community and a tribe that you can talk to. So we really try to also serve as that, as a place for people to come together and make new friends. And prior, we were chatting about how we have a lot of social events. And so putting those on and getting people out of the house and coming together.
Wonderful. Talk about some of the intentionality then that went into actually opening up the club and maybe some of the elements that you feel kind of speak to that community element and that social aspect.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot there. There's some that just comes down to the physical design. And so we took over an existing car repair and dealer. Actually, you can kind of see some courts behind me here. Those are 3 of our main courts, and that was where they used to repair the cars. So when we first came in, there was like hoses hanging everywhere and car bays and these double-decker things. We really had to imagine, okay, what could this look like empty? And then on the other side of the club is where they had their showroom, where they would then sell the cars they repaired. That's also a court for us. We call that our showroom court, to the landlord and the previous building here. But we actually knocked down everything in the middle. There was all these separate offices and rooms. We knocked everything down because to that point of kind of community, we wanted to make sure it was open and everything had a nice flow. So when you first walk in, you're basically greeted by a horseshoe bar. It's a beautiful bar, really no expensive spared when it came to the interior design and the decorating. And you are greeted hopefully by a friendly staff member at the front, but then that also serves as our full coffee bar. We turn into a wine bar in the afternoon and evening. We also have a cafe and a lot of different seating that also goes into our social lounge, which again is this open space, board games all throughout, just things to try to facilitate that coming together and what I say in terms of play and stay.
Okay. Yeah, and then you guys have a gym. So talk to
Yeah.
me a little bit about the why behind that and how that benefits the player and the member.
Yeah, I think it again plays off of that play and stay. So, we have so many clubs across the country that are starting to pop up. And I've been to a lot of them and I appreciate all of them and I love them. And a lot of them serve the purpose of what people come for, play pickleball, come play, sweat, leave. I really wanted to be different. And again, like that, where people are coming and maybe they're not even coming for pickleball. Maybe they truly are just coming to work out at the gym, have a panini and a smoothie, and then do some co-work and meet up with a friend a few hours later to play a board game. That's the dream and the vision that I had. So yeah, we have a fitness studio that we have many members that again don't play pickleball. They live close by and they like the vibe and the community here, so they've joined for that. But also too, a lot of people who are going out and getting on the Peloton before they go play, warming up, going in, doing their cool down stuff, which I'm trying to take note of because I'm trying to be better at that myself. And then the sauna has been starting to get a lot more frequent use, which is really cool. I think people are starting to see the benefits of that. I'm starting to see that booked out throughout the day. And again, folks can just come in and use it just as a total side off. And then I see a lot of people going in after they play, getting more of a sweat, and then taking a shower and grabbing a glass of wine.
Yeah, very cool. Are you finding that players are getting a little bit more serious about their cross training and recovery and their athleticism?
I think it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
It is funny like that because you have some who I think take it very seriously. 10 minutes ago, I was just sitting in my office and again, you can see I can oversee a lot of the courts. And I saw somebody doing like a full warm-up routine and I was watching kind of, oh gosh, I should be doing that. They had like, I don't even know, the little thing that they were like getting their arms warmed up with. And definitely I have my regulars who I know when they come, they go to the gym first and I even know what their routine looks like now. And then you still have, I think, a lot of folks that just show up, walk right out on the court, start playing, and are even drinking beers as they play. So
Yeah.
I find it to be across the board, really.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like your story is very relatable. There's so many people who have been so passionate about pickleball that have opened clubs. Is there anything that has surprised you about this journey as a first-time club owner?
Oh gosh, yeah, I feel like I get surprised every day. And I think even just from stemming off of what you just mentioned, I think competition. I played pro sports, I traveled the world, I've played in kind of these big tournaments with big crowds. And here, nothing is for real, nothing is serious, it's all for fun. But I think I'm amazed at people's level of competitiveness. Even when we have a fun event that literally means nothing, people want to win. And so that's something it's exciting and fun. And one of our values here is we believe in friendly competition. We're all for it. So I think that is something that's surprising, but also too, I think how fast the community is blending and coming together. I anticipated that would take time or even maybe a fear of, is it going to happen? And that is hands down my favorite part of this business is seeing people come in for the first time, never having played pickleball, now being addicted and being here every single day, and people who never knew each other now having wine together, planning separate things outside of the club because now they're friends.
What would you say are your keys to success so far? What's the secret sauce that has got you to this moment?
I think you have to have a nice facility. I think so, right? You have to have something that people want to come to. Programming, again, I think, yes, people want to book courts, but I think having certain activities and coach-led instruction that they can come to and sign up for, that's really popular for us. We have great coaching and all of their programs tend to get super filled and fast. So I guess along with that, good coaches who really do know what they're talking about, not just good players, but can actually instruct because people do want to get better. That is, I think, also a surprising thing to me. They want to learn the strategy. They want the technique. And folks you wouldn't typically or technically think would be doing private lessons are the ones that are here regularly once a week having their private because they want to get better. And yeah, and I think just being receptive. People have a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions, and I think it would be really easy for me to not listen to them. But I think it makes the members feel valued and heard and like they're a part of building this with you versus you just building it, saying it, this is how it is, and expecting people to get on board. They want to be a part of the community, and
Yeah,
that rolls up to us in ownership.
yeah, that makes sense. What about any learning lessons? Maybe something that you could prevent another club operator from potentially making the same mistake on?
Yeah, God, there is a ton of them. I'm even just, my head's going back to the beginning. And when I think about, we're talking about maybe opening up a second one. And I was talking to my wife the other day about how I'm like, I think we just now, there's a lot of cost savings that I think we're now aware of. And just certain things where it's like, again, as I mentioned, for us, it was no expenses spared. And that goes down to we have like the high-end chain link fence. And I think, and again, we only have 3 courts that we put fencing on, and it was like 40 grand. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. And I see a lot of clubs that do netting, and some of them just do the barriers. But I think there's a middle ground there now that I've seen different clubs and seen what we have. So I feel like we could probably save a lot just in the build out itself and in anticipating. As an example, I mentioned we had to knock down all these rooms and walls and all, and everything that you knock down is expensive, and especially to build back up. So I think too, it's like with the next space, what is the existing space? Like, how do we work within a lot of the functionality that is already there? And yeah, we're learning literally every single day. Every single day there's something, and there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I've just gotten to a point where it's like I try to tell myself, don't ride the roller coaster. Don't get too excited by the thing that's high, and don't get dragged down by the thing that's low. Just I try to stay pretty steady and just expect that those are going to come day to day.
Yeah, ownership is not easy.
No, it's really not. Yeah. I feel like I'm a people person. I'm sensitive and empathetic. And so it's like I want to make everybody happy. And I was just speaking with actually one of our coaches last night about that, where I'm like, I want to make everybody happy. And she's like, yeah, but you can't make everybody happy. I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm going to keep trying. But it's emotional and it's tough. And I think the bottom line is you kind of make an adjustment to lean towards this group or this person or this skill set, whatever it is. But then the other side, what about us over here? I think it's trying to always make a decision that what's best for the club, and not from the club financial standpoint, but what's best for the club in terms of the whole, the members and the current members, but also the members to come, because we are only 5.5, 6 months old. And so I often have to remind myself too, there's so many people who still don't even know we exist, who still have yet to set foot in this club, and so many more members to come. So kind of how do we also make decisions for what's the much larger, hopefully greater future versus just the right now?
Yeah, certainly. You mentioned you guys are still young and you guys have had already great success and had a lot of attention. What do you think drove that? How were you able to make such a splash kind of right off the bat?
I think word of mouth. And I know that's kind of cliche, but it's pickleball. Pickleball, it's the pickleballers are a tight-knit community and tend to know each other. So it's like, I feel like everybody who plays pickleball here in Oakland learned about us quickly. There's no better way than that. Other than that, like to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out the marketing. I think it is probably my biggest gap in my skill set, especially in terms of just promotional and like how to getting people out. I don't like social media ads. We don't really do any of that. I want to start doing that, but it really is just word of mouth.
Yeah. No, you're not the only other operator to tell me that. Marketing,
Yeah,
I think, is probably one of the biggest challenges.
it's so
Um,
tough.
yeah,
It,
it
it really
is.
is a unique skill set, and it's ironic because I actually come from a background of sales, and I think I was that salesperson. I said, what does marketing even do? But now I'm like, oh, I very much understand. And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, you can come up with email campaigns or flyers and stuff, but it's still, how do those things get distributed? It's interesting, and it's something that I'm like trying to learn on. And also just I think when we recognize that where our gaps are, like I can't probably become a world-class marketer overnight. And maybe I could with time, but also is that where I want to invest my time? So it's also just leaning on others who have expertise in that area.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's one of the most important elements of leadership is leaning into your strengths and then outsourcing the things that you're not the best at, finding those
Mhm.
teammates that can fill in the gaps for sure. What's on the horizon for Pickle Athletics? Anything that you're super excited about in regards to the future? Any additional locations? What are your
Yeah.
plans?
We're starting to look at some locations, hopefully number 2 around the corner, I say, but it takes a long time as to find the right spot and negotiate your lease and do the build out. But hopefully within a year, we'll have number 2 up and running, looking at a lot of different locations. So that's very exciting. And also too, just again, still lots to do here at our flagship club. And so I think that's still trying to nail down. There's this constant balance of leveling and playing with times of the day, right? Because it's like you have your advanced players, but then it's like we actually tend to skew mostly our advanced players tend to, for whatever reason, be like daytime players. But then you still have the subset of advanced players that are at nighttime. And they're like, okay, but we need stuff too. And then it's just you're trying to work all these different skill levels with the programming, with the lessons, court management, etc. And so it's this, I feel like it's a lot of Tetris and
Yeah.
just figuring out what works when. And folks they want competition. And so it's figuring out how do we also get these competitive events in, but also not letting people get too overly competitive. And also too, we do a lot of off-court activities. We hosted a comedy show. We have group training. So it's just constantly to staying on top of those, figuring out what's working, what do people like? Okay, they loved that. Great, let's get the next one scheduled. No one signed up for that. Scrap that. Next thing. So yeah, I think there's just always something exciting going on, and it's usually in the form of programming.
Let's close with, if you could just give one piece of advice for other club operators, what would it be?
Just go for it, right? I think it's like with anything, we like fear comes in the way. And I feel like truly, I feel like I am a poster child of if she can do it, you can do it. And it's just one foot in front of the other. And I think as long as you just keep like building and writing the momentum, because ultimately, especially if you're a pickleballer, like you know the vision. It's like when I'm not building software and like trying to figure out, I don't know, how to keep evolving the software. It's we want to build a club, we want to build a community. You know what that looks like in terms of courts and like physical space. So it's just keep going, one step in front of the other. And I think also too, just you're on the roller coaster, you don't need to ride every little high and low. I think it's just expect it. Every single day there's something. And it's just kind of like, okay, there that is. Cool. That's the low today. At the end of the day, you still go home, go back to your family, and try your best to not let these things at work affect you.